We are going live today with Launch and Learn, which is my weekly live show all around launching. So today we're going to be talking about planning for the most crucial part of your launch. And so I've been planning and managing live launches for about this past 6 years. And there's one crucial piece that I see a lot of people miss, and that's why I wanted to talk about this today. And so when you're planning your launch, right, you always start with the offer, right? We always start with our offer, and we're reverse engineering all of the other parts of our launch. So we're from the offer, we're reverse engineering all of our client attraction strategies, so we make sure that we're attracting our potential ideal clients. We are planning for what team we're going to need to support us in our launch. We're planning for what systems are going to be implemented as part of our launch. We're planning our content calendars. We're planning our own time, right? As coaches, we're planning how we're going to organize our time, how our team's going to organize our time. And of course, we're planning like the overall marketing strategy and creating project plans or whatever other things we need to support us. And while all of that is very important, because you can't, get through a live launch without most of those pieces, is that the part that people miss is actually their client onboarding process. And most people don't think of this as part of their launch. Most people think of their client onboarding process as an operational piece of their business. And I don't disagree with that. However, when you're doing live launches, typically you are, even though your core offer is remaining the same, you are inviting people into your high ticket program or into a course or a membership. When you're live launching, quite often you're testing out and experimenting with different bonuses or incentives or different structures, right? Maybe you relaunched this before and you learned something about the way that you had the program structured, or you learned something about that didn't really work with enticing people to enroll in whatever it is that you're inviting them into. So while your client onboarding process is, a routine part of your business, every time you live launch, you need to make sure that you're keying into the details of that specific offer for that specific launch. And quite often what I've found, honestly, is that this part is an afterthought as part of the launch planning process. And that doesn't mean that this is something that you have to actually plan out of the gate, but you need to make sure that you have a step inside of your launch planning project or plan that the client onboarding piece is being taken care of. And here's why it's so important, why it's so crucial. Think about all of the time, the energy, the money, the resources, the team, the heart, the soul, the love that you pour into a live launch, right? I know so many of my clients have their little stars or hearts on their wall, like tracking each new person that enrolls and all of the lives that they're impacting. And think about all of that you invest time into. And then think about going through all of that, doing your enrollment call or doing whatever, if people are buying direct or they're doing a call, receiving a yes. And that client that's been following you through this launch, maybe they've been following you from before your launch. You don't know, so if you're selling a high ticket program, someone can have been following you for a year, right? They've followed you all of this time. They've been on this journey with you. They finally step in and they are completely underwhelmed by their first experience working with you as a paying client, which is exactly what your client onboarding process is. It is the first experience that someone has as a paying client with you. And so what I want to say here is when I say client onboarding process, what I want to dial into is that your client onboarding process isn't even a process. I use that because it's the most, obvious term that people are going to relate to. But your customer onboarding process isn't even a process. It is a journey. It is an experience. And it is an opportunity for you to build trust with a new client. It's an opportunity to affirm the decision that they've just made. It's an opportunity for you to set them up for the ultimate success as part of your program or course. And if you don't invest enough time in mapping out what that journey looks like for them, what that experience is for them, then you're leaving the opportunity for them to be, like I said, underwhelmed. And quite honestly, I've been through this before where I've actually enrolled in programs as a client, and I've heard countless other people that, colleagues and friends in the online industry that have signed up for things. And I'm talking like high ticket, high investment programs and masterminds. And they've been like, oh, I just made this huge deposit and I didn't get a welcome email. I don't even know if I'm signed up, right? Or, right, they get all of this energy and excitement and support in the launch period, right, when people are like marketing. And then when they get enrolled into a program, it like what they were expecting isn't delivered and it completely falls flat, right? So this is not the experience that you want for your clients, which is why it's important to have a step in your launch process to make sure that you and your team are looking at what the client onboarding experience is and making it really intentional, investing time and thought and resources into mapping it out. And quite often people are doing it as, again, a step-by-step process, right? And I'm huge on this. I love SOPs. I love to document SOPs. I like to, if SOPs are created, looking at them and seeing where there's opportunities to streamline them or make them better. And so quite often people think of the client onboarding process as like, oh, okay, they sign up, they pay, they get the welcome email, they get access to the Facebook group, they get their bonus, they get this thing, they get that thing, right? But what you really want to think about isn't just the steps, but you really want to think about the experience and the feeling that you want to create for your new clients so that they feel like they've just made the best decision, they've just made the best investment, and they're super pumped up and excited to embark on this experience, on this journey with you inside of your program. So although it's important to map out the steps and write them out so that your team is clear and consistent on what happens, you really want to make sure that that documented process incorporates and captures the actual journey itself and all of the different touch points, whether they're automated, whether they're manual, right? And make sure that that's incorporated at every step of the way so your team knows exactly what you want that journey to look like for your clients. So this is something I'm super passionate about. It's one of the things I love working with clients on. In fact, it's like one of the first things I look at when I go into a client's business, whether we're launching or we're doing business management, is looking at their SOPs. And one of the very first ones I look at is their client onboarding process, because your client onboarding experience has the opportunity to create an incredible amount of goodwill with your new client, create retention, encourage referrals, right? If someone has a great experience in their first touch points working with you, they may refer someone into your program. When it comes time for them to renew, right? This was their very first impression of you. We all know how important first impressions are, right? So this is an impression that's going to stick with them throughout their time with you and could help to improve your retention with your clients. So again, it all goes back to all of the investment and time and resources that you're spending in the actual marketing, in the actual client, attracting clients that you want, acquiring clients, and then making sure that you're not leaving this huge gap once they actually say yes and are stepping into your program. So I've been thinking about doing this for a while, but I'm going to be hosting a client onboarding training. It's going to be live on Zoom on September 23rd. It's going to basically help you understand why, we'll be going over why the crafting a client onboarding experience is so important, what things that you want to think about and be really intentional about as part of your crafting your client onboarding experience. And I'll be going through some other things around, how to balance automation and personal touch points so that your onboarding experience doesn't feel robotic or completely automated, right? There's many ways you can incorporate personal touch points into these processes, even in an automated way, so that the experience is consistent every time. You're making sure that people are supported. So we'll be talking about a lot of those things. I'll leave time at the end for people to ask any questions you have about client onboarding, from the actual experience itself, from mapping it out, for making sure that your team is executing it consistently. Again, to balancing, talking about automation versus personalization. And also kind of like the bells and whistles, right? That if you're someone who already has a client onboarding experience mapped out, what are the ways that you can up-level it? And if you don't have one already mapped out, okay, how can we get you on the path to getting a really solid and seamless client onboarding experience mapped out? So after I shut this live down, I'm going to pop the link in the comments here and on Instagram and on my Facebook page. So if you're interested in joining me for the training, just click that link. You'll just go to a simple registration page. You can put your details in, and we'll send you a confirmation email. And then the training will be live on Zoom on the 23rd of September at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. I hope you'll join me. I will be sharing, like I said, I've been doing this in the online space with coaches for 6 years, but I've been doing processes and building processes and experiences like this for, decades, as part of like other roles that I've been in corporate and things like that. So I hope you will join me. And if you have any questions about the training, or if you have any questions about onboarding in general, feel free to pop them in the comments. And I hope to see you on the training on the 23rd. Thanks for watching.